Well, I would just like to say how happy we are to see you all. Some people for the first time, some people it's the first time. So we are happy to greet you and welcome you for the February session of ISSA. Um, well, actually, I would like to introduce Winnie to you, who is my dear colleague from Hong Kong. So here is Winnie.
Yes, so thank you, Maria. So my name is Winnie. I'm from Hong Kong. So nice to meet you all again. And just want to say it again, the goal for ISSA is really to provide opportunities to all the saxophonists around the world to learn from those greatest teachers. So apart from this, we also listen to the suggestions from our past students saying they want to learn more specific topic in regards to like music education and career. So today, that's why we have the pleasure to invite Maestro Jean-François Bescond to share the rich experience in the music world. So I think it's very interesting and also will be very useful for the young musician.
Yes, exactly. And we're very happy to have the inimitable and incredible Mr. Bescond with us. He will, he will join for in just a minute, but he asked us to ask you to introduce yourself. So let's just give, maybe start from Augustus. Would you like to start?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I am originally from Lithuania. I was born in Lithuania, and I have Polish, and I study in Warsaw.
Okay, thank you. How about Asako?
Asako?
Asako, we can see you. Hello.
Everyone. Yes. I'm from Japan. I teach University of Japan, Osaka. I studied in Paris during 6 years and a half. Voilà.
Well, thank you. And let's go to Kobe.
Hi, I'm Kobe.
Hello, Kobe.
Yeah, hi. I'm studying in Hong Kong and majoring in music, and it's my final year. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So why?
Hello, I'm Wai. You can call me Hannah, and I am studying in Hong Kong too, and I'm the final year student too.
Okay, thank you. So Hannah. Okay. How about Ariel?
Hey, my name is Ariel. I'm from Israel. I'm currently in my last high school year, and I hope next year study abroad and start my higher education in music.
Thank you. So now let's go to Philip, guys.
Buongiorno. Yes. Then I'm Philip, guys. I teach in Strasbourg. And also, I'm very happy to see former students from the first ISSA and students from ISSA Winter. And because I really love this community growing step by step. And I also think about our colleague Nicolas Prost, who can't be there today, but he is with us, of course. See you later.
Now let's go to Mathias.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mathias. I am a professor at Ljubljana University Academy of Music, and I'm really happy that I can be part of this wonderful society of young and young in heart musicians as I am.
Experience players.
So let's now go to Pirasat.
Hello. My name is Karaset. I'm from Thailand and currently studying at Mahidol University. So I'm in high school. Yeah. Nice to meet you all.
Pleasure.
Nice to see you. So now I think the person that we are all waiting for is Jean-François Bescond. So I will give you here.
I have all the control now.
So, yes, you are the boss.
Thanks a lot, Maria. Well, it's a pleasure to be with you. First of all, because we have very familiar, faces in front of us. Also because of the beauty of the internet, even though we would love just to be all together joining in the same room. It's not possible, but at the same time, well, the beauty is we have the world here, especially Asia. It's really highly represented there. I'm very glad just to see you. Also, all friends there. And well, this session, we prepared with Maria and Philippe this session. And it's a kind of new topic for me. I was kind of really, I took it very humbly because I have some experience. You will see, I will introduce briefly myself about where I'm coming from. Some people know already, but it's always a very exciting topic about speaking about the musician's career. Well, and well, I think that ISSA, and thank you for ISSA for inviting me, had really, well, we have the privilege, first of all, just to combine a real education in saxophone for you all, and you did benefit a lot about that this week, but also, and Winnie said that very well, just to really have just another approach about, playing well, it's great, and you have no choice but playing extremely well. However, with my experience, it's not the only parameter to be a successful musician and teacher. And that's sometimes something I really discussed a lot with my dear friend, long-term friend, Philippe, about the needed approach of really combining a strong background in music with also a wise approach of the music business and the music market. It's very important. If you only play extremely well, of course, you will succeed, but it doesn't make it all. If you only market yourself and are a little bit weak, that's also not going just to be very nice. So really, it's a dear. I have someone entering right now, Adrien or Adrien.
Yes.
Adrien. Hello, Adrien. I'm not sure we will. He's not on the camera yet, but he will join us. Okay. So what I suggest, and the beauty, just to end this short introduction, is really about we are a small group there. So I really would like to have interactions as much as possible, and especially with a mix of people there. That will be fantastic. We have very mature teachers and experienced teacher from Europe, from all over the world there. And we have very young players questioning themselves a lot about what to do, which kind of really path they should go through just to succeed. And that's really very interesting. So my request, I would say, you are all muted, but please make sure that we can interact. We're a good amount of people just to be able just to. I did propose a little PowerPoint presentation. It helps really just to discuss a little bit, but please interact. I'm not a career coach, not at all. I come with a lot of experience from the music industry, artist relation, but that will be interesting to really have some more experience with interactions, but also younger players questioning themselves about, well, what they should do. Okay, so that's really the key point here. Make sure that you take the lead when needed, when you disagree with me, when you could really have something to add. That's really important. Okay, maybe Adrien, I don't know if we can see Adrien. Yes.
Yeah.
Where are you, Adrien? Are you?
Can you hear me or not?
Yeah, we cannot see you though. Or you can? Oh yeah, I see you now. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you are welcome. And maybe just a few words about you, then we know exactly who we speak to and who is part of our little team there.
So I present myself, or yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a student. I'm a master student in the class of Philippe Geis, now since 1.5 years. And I'm French and German. I grew up in Berlin. And yeah, I did my bachelor at the Hans ISSA in Berlin, and now I can do my master.
With Johannes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Cool. Well, welcome. So we have normally we're 12 people, and I remember that 12 was the gold figure for us number. We got it. Okay. So let's start. I will first of all check about should work about sharing my desktop and tell me whether it works or not. Does it?
Yes.
All right. Cool. Well, again, very important just to make sure that anytime you want just to take the lead, just don't raise even not the hand, just like just interrupt me and question whenever. Let's not wait for any question you may have or any kind of input you will have. Well, I know some of you, but I will also introduce myself. That's me here on the picture, Jean-François Bescond. I live in Paris, in France. I'm not a saxophonist. I'm humbly have to apologize for that, even though I spent a lot of time with interacting and working with saxophone for a long time. So I was trained as a clarinetist first. I have a diploma in France. I still play actively in different chamber music and orchestra groups. I really enjoy that very much, practicing my clarinet every single day. That's very important. But I also choose not to be a professional. Then I taught a couple of years, 4 years, little kids, but then, you know, I took another path. Well, I was not that bad at school. And in fact, I studied business, first of all in Paris, in a business school, when I studied really mostly communication and marketing, especially. And later on, I had the opportunity with my family to live in the USA for 3 years. And I had the opportunity to study again and to get an MBA in global management there. Okay. So I am this kind of person, kind of hybrid. It's very trendy right now to still be humbly a musician, but also just to have another background as in business. And relating to business, in fact, I've been working, and most of the people here I know have known me as the marketing person for Salma Paris. So I had the opportunity really just to work for Salma Paris with my boss, Patrick Selmer, in Paris for 7 years in Paris. And then I moved to the US, and I still kept working for Salma Paris in the USA with one of our partners, Con Selmer, which is the Salma Paris distributor in the USA. And then we have another person coming, Lucia. Well, I had me there. Welcome, Lucia. I keep going, and then you will have a chance to introduce yourself. Welcome. Then, you know, I came back to the USA and for a global company, again, based in the US, named after Dario. So doing a lot of wreaths and mouthpieces. And I had the opportunity to really in charge of the international development of the brand for 14 years there. I'm kind of very stable person in a way. I like to jog and to run long time. So that's how I work. And most recently, I joined another American company, which is a Eastman Music Company based in California. And I'm in charge also of the development, but only in Europe so far. So you see that the person who will humbly just speak and share some ideas with you, he has experience as a player, not a saxophonist, but had the opportunity really just to really get involved with 3 major companies, one from France, the two others from the USA, and to really have an opportunity to really meet a lot of players, and of course saxophonists. I would say top people, and of course Philippe Geis is one of them, who became a dear friend from me, really. And Matthias, I know for a long time, Asako, and so on. Winnie, I think we met already in the past, I remember that. And but also just having a chance to meet some younger players who become later some key players also, and some people who have just decided just to go another path. So that was a real challenge for me, just to put something together regarding well, building your career there. Okay. And well, first of all, I really would like just to welcome. We have another person in the team, which is who just come recently here.
Lucia.
Lucia, are you there?
Yes. Yes, I didn't receive the link at the first time, but now it works.
Don't worry, you know, and you are more than welcome. Tell us briefly who you are, where you live, what do you do in life?
I'm from Austria, and I studied saxophone in Austria. I think I know you from Vienna, from the Tatario workshop once. It was 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah. Another victim of
MDV. It was at MDV.
Correct.
Yes, I studied there, and
cool.
I live 60 kilometers in the south of Vienna.
Good. So welcome. So you didn't miss a lot, you know, except we have a very nice group of players from all over the world. First of all, Europe and Asia. And also, that's very interesting for us, very experienced people with a heavy background, and some people a bit more new, just reflecting about what they want to do with their musical career. Okay. One of the first things I would like just to ask you, and well, Lucia, by the way, and again, all of you, please, I love interaction, so feel free just to react and question and so on. So that's really how I see this. It's not a major, well, a teacher presenting something, I'm not that, but just really react about that. But the first question I would like to ask you, well, we think about building your career. Well, how will you define a successful career? Because of course, you know, a career, we want it as successful as possible. And I would like to get your input all about what for you is being successful in career. So maybe I would love just to ask, maybe have a more experienced player and a young one who is really, again, just who he or she would like just to become a top, and I wish the best, a top saxophonist, traveling all over the world when everything will be possible again. What do you have in mind when we speak about career? So who wants to take the lead on that? Don't be shy. What you dream of? I want to be a top artist traveling all over the world, playing 360 concerts a year and only have 5 days off. Or I want, I see my being local, very in my city and teaching. Well, what is a successful career for you? Go ahead. Who is speaking? Just tell me who, because who is speaking, then
Augustus.
We know. Augustus. Go ahead, Augustus. What do you have in mind?
I think that maybe you really need to get a really balanced, maybe everything that you do, you need to balance very well. So, for example, the most important thing, your level of playing, then your knowledge of music business and marketing and all that stuff. And I think you really need to be organized really well, because it's sometimes really difficult if you're a top musician, it's very difficult to get organized. And I think for the ideal musical career, you also need some time like to rest more. Sometimes because it's very common that you don't have any time for yourself if you're very successful. So that's, I think, one of the most important things.
Okay, great. Well, now any other input there? Maybe a little bit more.
Let me say something, because
yes, Winnie.
Yeah, for me, I think a successful career is I'm working a career which I like most, which I want to devote all my time, and I think meaningful, and also I will not regret. So if I can like serving something in this career, then I think I will not regret, and I will think my life will be very wonderful and colorful. So I think I'll consider this a successful career.
Colorful, I love that.
I think it's really important if you want to have a career that you do a gap in the market. For example, when at university we analyzed artists. We had a and there was an Austrian folk music ensemble that had a gap in the market. They played classical music, folk music, classical music that meets pop music and something like that, and they got very successful in Austria and Europe, and maybe that's their success, that they had a gap in the market.
Interesting. So far, what I prepare for you later on will be, I mean, I'm right now. I approach that. That's very interesting. Okay. I will not summarize because we'll go through a couple of points, and I think they all just go to the same point. Really, having a successful career is about balancing your career. It's very important, really. I love also Winnie saying about really meaningful. That's very important point. No regret, to make the right choice for you, even though let's not be too naive. You know, sometimes you are at the beginning, you have just to go with what comes to you. But sometimes I would say, and also I speak as a father, you know, and it's really guiding a little bit my kids. It's really what it will be one of the points for a successful career is to have, and that's very important to remember, to have choice. The worst, sometimes it's say, well, I have only one way to go, because that's really what I have here. And well, I cannot just have, well, another option. And that's maybe what you should really avoid. It's really to always have a second option, to say, at least I can make a choice, because as Winnie said, you know, no regret. You know, then, you know, of course, Lucia spoke about what I will say about kind of flexibility, because if you want to be successful in career, my point for me, it's really, and I believe it's really to be always really listening to all the market, what's going on, but also to be able to adapt yourself, you know, and adaptation, versatility in a way. And I think here about, again, Philippe Geis, because he has been showing for many, many years, really now, a way of adjusting without compromising, and Philippe will be able to comment on that if he wants, but also at the same time not to be the one playing this repertoire or being only that, but really just because I think Philippe likes so many different things and does everything very well. So it's very important to really just to also having this choice and give and to have this choice, really having different paths and different opportunities there, and to open different doors at the same time. Okay, and I put that together. Many people believe that success means having a high earning, high achievement, and a great in society. That's normally what, not all relating to music, but also, and that's what I heard here, a lot of people on the other hand define a successful career in terms of stable work, balanced work environment, good work-life balance. I know that Augusta mentioned about having breaks sometimes, and low stress levels, which is also, you know, if you have a great career but you're completely stressed out, you never just give you the time to really, well, a little bit, consider what you're doing, consider a new approach, well, having some training for yourself, learning, you know, more, maybe composing, creating. That's, and especially for musicians, that's really maybe something that is missing in your career. But again, something very important to tell me. I'm sharing and I give you some ideas, some suggestions or recommendation, but there is no wrong or right. Every single, and we could take a couple of examples of people who have been successful in their career or are successful in their career. And every time it was a new story, a different story. Okay, so it's very important that we speak about really this kind of balance in your career, which is important. Now, my approach of this presentation is really about giving you tips, and I didn't want to. We will come on the music, on the musical aspect later on, you know, but it's more about, you know, when you speak about a successful career, what we should really consider. And these points here have been really something I consider I found from different websites and different works on building a successful career. So it's not only relating about music, and that's what I really like, because, and again, some people who know me for a long time, and that's something also we should learn. You are all musicians. You want all to become very successful musicians, but at the same time, being a musician is really being a citizen. Being a musician is like a regular work and job, you know. And so it means that we can also treat this topic and address these different points as a regular, really well position. It's not, sometimes people want to make, you know, being a musician, being a performer, a teacher, something a little bit different. I disagree with that. You know, I think that sometimes, you know, of course there is something more, I would say, more exciting, a lot of fun and so on, but at the same time, all the people who have been extremely successful are people extremely professional and really considering, you know, their career are something extremely like a regular other, well, like a manager or someone really responsible for, well, a whole career there. And that's really important. Being a musician, it doesn't mean that it's completely different. You know, it brings something different about creativity and so on, but I think it should not. That might be really the problem we have sometimes. We should not consider being a musician as something completely different from other people who are, well, engineers, or really who are salespeople, who are really involved in education, general education, for example. And something you could disagree on, but I think it's sometimes a gap, and maybe also for me a problem to see that people and to see musicians considering them as so different. Because that really brings, you can play the best in your kitchen, as I always say to some people, but you need to market yourself. You need to build a plan for your career, because only your success and your skills at playing saxophone will not be enough, especially right now with the choice we have your globality of the jobs and the positions. It's very important. Okay. So one of the first tips I brought is, and I thought I didn't think about that, but it's relating to what we, Augusta, I think, mentioned, also Winnie mentioned about meaningful, you know, balance career. And when I checked about really managing, a lot of people came on, well, your career should reflect who you are, what you like, what you want to do for your life. It's very generic, but again, no one can really manage a very successful career without really having behind that some real true drivers. And a driver, it's really something, a huge motivation for that. It's not only about work, it's really what I want to do, what I want to give in my career. And it relates to values. So of course, values are extremely vague, you know, but it relates to the satisfaction of being a musician, of being a teacher, okay? And you may, first of all, every time you do consider what should I do, what will be my career, you say, well, what are my values? What I really want not to meet in my life as a player, as also a human being and citizen, you know, just to make sure that at the end of my career, I will be extremely happy. Again, very generic, but it's very fundamental that we will always think about that. Philip Geis is coming back again. I don't know. Hello, Philip, guys. Philip? Well, I don't
Hello.
know. Yeah, have you missed some of the presentation?
Yeah, but I'm back.
Right, because I spoke a lot about you.
Yeah, but I have a connection problem.
Yeah, and of course in bad words. So Maria will share that with you later on. Joke, of course. So, well, this first point is extremely important. Any comments about that? Do you agree that, managing your, a career, a successful career, it's about, first of all, making sure that you match with your own values. I don't speak there, it's very generic. I don't speak about, your values are very personal. It's not speak about any kind of really religious, political, we are not there for that. But to make sure that the career you want, it's really something that you really choose well and relates to your values and what you have, your deep beliefs. And of course, it also relates to satisfaction. The worst could be say, I'm so wealthy, I've played so many concerts, but all the concerts I play, all the repertoire I play, I didn't like it. I didn't want to play this repertoire. It's because I had no choice but. And that's really not a successful career. So again, I mentioned about being able to choose, to have the choice, the right choice in your career. That's really the beauty of what you have to seek after, and give all the chance to, at one point, to say, well, I have at least two options there. And it's not a unique path. I must do that because I have no choice. That's very important. Okay. Any interest about, any reaction about you should know your values, what you deeply think about what is being a musician, a teacher, a performer. Any reaction on that?
Yeah, I could try. All these questions are very important, but quite complex. My students know that usually the first question I ask to my students is who you want to be. And I always notice that most of the time when they start to think about that, after they are really depressed because they start to think about that and they don't know how to really make the choice, because after that the know your values is quite complex, because the question is, are you a great artist because you have a very fast staccato, or because you have something spatial, like a very nice sound when you play? Maybe you have not a great staccato, but you have a great sound. Then what we will think that you are will be valuable first, and after you have always to make a balance. As a student, you have to succeed your exams. As a teacher, you have to have your students to succeed the exams, and even you open the door to different options, or just open music, be open music mind. At one step, you need to match with some values from other people. I mean, that's, if today I enjoy a lot to improvise just what I have in mind, that's one thing. But tomorrow I have to play Rachmaninoff or something in the symphonic orchestra, and here I have to be connected to the value of the orchestra.
Correct.
And that's completely different.
And Philippe, if I may, this first point is about yourself. And we mentioned about that, about, well, the flexibility, the adaptation a career always requires. It's very important, okay? So even though sometimes, values could be ethical, something, whatever, some people are really, sometimes you have in other careers, some people say, well, especially I would say the younger generation, but it's not a question too much of a generation, but I want to do something meaningful. Sometimes it's not always work. And sometimes you say, do you do something because you have just to earn money to pay your bills? So, but in general, You know, you have just to pick a career who really just reflects what you deeply think about that, you know. And again, it doesn't mean that you always stick with your values and match with your values. It's not possible, and let's not be naive about that. You know, we have also to be realistic and very pragmatic, but sometimes always to think, well, having a choice and really doing something that we can speak deeply about, and I'm not really, I'm forced to do. Yeah. Sometimes again, I'm very, very clear. You have no choice, and because people say, well, this guy is happy, well, but you know, I have just to earn money. And but sometimes if you have a choice, really better just to really say, well, what is really what I really want to do first. So that's really something. In fact, when I researched, where I prepared this presentation, I didn't think about that. Right away. I wanted to speak about, oh, you have to do that, that, and that. But really, it's essential for you to really make, even on a blank of paper, to say, well, what I really would like. You know, always all projects and professional projects start well, when you seek after a job, or for example, the first people really consultants will say, but what do you want to do? You want to be an engineer? What you want to build something? You want to really do research? And people say, well, I will take whatever. No. It's a long career, is long. Try at least just to be clear on what you want to do first. Okay.
Jean-François,
yes.
Can I say something? Just something in relation. You're just saying now, the career is a long thing, and I noticed in my experience that what you want when you are 20 is not something that you want when you're 30. And it's a wonderful thing, because every 10 years you can just wait for a second, think about what you've been doing and what you would like to do now at this point of your life. And then when you're 30, when you're 40, when you're 50, 60, well, I don't know for the rest, but it is very nice to be able to change and to say, I have done this, but now I would like to do something else.
Correct.
And it's a wonderful thing to know that you're not stuck with something for all your life.
Yeah, very fair point there, you know, and that's relates, and there is a point about kind of really adaptation, flexibility, because we have also to be very pragmatic about what comes and so on. But I think in the roots, there is something really that, you know, some people will say, well, I really want to play as much as possible. I don't like teaching too much, or at least, you know, well, sometimes you balance, of course, you have no, but it's very important, of course, the kind of music also. I think that's Lucia who told us about this very successful person really embracing so different repertoires. And that's really also kind of very interesting to see that really, you know, this person, in fact, maybe the values was to say, well, I want to play music. I don't want to play only jazz or only classical or whatever, you know. And if you have a choice again, or if you can at least consider that, that will help you a lot. Again,
maybe something about that's important for, especially for the students, is being flexible to be able to have enough job to pay your bills, for example, like be able to play in orchestra, chamber music, or jazz gigs or something like that. Why not? But if we talk about your career, I think that we have the earliest as possible to think about who we want to be, because we are like a product, and our audience are also the managers or the concert halls who will maybe hire you. We hope so. Needs to recognize you.
Yeah.
And then
that will be interesting. Your approach of product, we'll see later. You will see.
Yeah, and then, well, if you talk about that, that will be very important to.
I will. People will be shocked, but I will treat you like a pure marketing product.
Okay, I will not say more. Okay, see you.
I'm a bad person. Well,
I'd like to say something.
Oh, Matthias, sorry. Go ahead.
Go.
Yeah. I have really, or not really, quite long pedagogical experience. I'm teaching since I was 16. So not to mention how old I am, but I'm teaching for 40 years now, yes? And what I learned during this long period is that the most important thing that we teach our students is to be themselves. Mm-hmm. Be yourself, be the best, try to become the best what you are. Don't be a copycat. Don't listen too much to other players and try to be like them. Try to find your own path. The most important thing is that you are as much as possible with that you don't have problems with yourself, with your ego, with what you are, what I should be, and with if you can find yourself, it doesn't matter if you're the best or the worst. It just matters that you are satisfied in your life, because then your environment will be satisfied with you. You will have a nice relationship with your partner, with your family, with your relatives, with your friends, you know, and of course, life is never just going up. It's always ups and downs, and we have to live with that. We have to go through all those phases. And of course, the living is not the career. Career is half of living.
Correct.
Part of your living. So try to balance your life and your career. That's
well,
the most
Matthias, very important, really. And this is important because sometimes people will go, well, what I should do, learn that, there. And say, well, you know, people with experience like you do have, you know, teaching and performing, see that for everything, the success, again, we speak about successful, it's about really balance, doing something you like. And again, you know, I met a lot of musicians, sometimes extremely talented, but so sad in their lives. So sad in their lives. And it was definitely impacting also their playing and the project they had. So it's really important to also, at one point, I remember Augusta or whatever thinking, well, we need some breaks sometimes. Always try to balance, to stick with your values, to make sure that we don't miss anything. It's not, we take a lot of time to speak about that, because if you don't, if you miss this first step, well, you may just really have a really an issue there, okay? I move on because the time is but it's really goes fast. But what's going on there? Voilà. Well, if we have 10 points, so I go very fast on those. Well, fast on those. But first of all, when you check about your career, try to also check about what are your strengths. You know, what are you good at? Don't try to go the hardliner, to be the hardliner. You know, try to see what, well, relating to values also, but what you are very good at. You know, are you good at playing really in special groups? Are you absolutely good at playing in this kind of repertoire? Are you extremely good at even managing some very specific techniques? You know, not to say that you should play on that, but people who are very well successful also make advantage of what they know they do at best. You know, and very important, that's really, and also something very important relating to, well, the satisfaction you can go. You know, if you do something, you play your strengths, mean that it's a little bit easier, it's a little bit more fun. And that's something very important, really to think about that, because again, you know, if you do something you like, it's not too hard. Well, because you relate mostly about your strengths. That's really important. Okay, so I saw sometimes people say, well, why you play that? Well, I love doing that, and I'm kind of easy on playing this kind of repertoire. Or I love teaching more the little ones more than the more advanced. I like to. I'm not so good at really having a very interaction with a big group, but I like smaller group. And always know yourself. You don't have to share that to everyone, but know you were, and just make experience to make sure, well, I'm very good at doing that. You know, for example, on my site, you know, I always had no problem to really to play or to expose in front of big groups. You know, so I'm not kind of shy. Well, and I always try to do that. Sometimes when we have some people say, well, do you want to do a kind of presentation in front of 600 people? Well, it's fine. You know, some people may say, no, it's not. Well, so I try always to say, well, I'm good at that. Same, I know some people, some players who are not for any kind of physical points, not so good at really imagining some special techniques. You know, well, they don't play well, even though some teacher will say, well, you need to be able to play everything. But some techniques in contemporary music and so on are more difficult for us, some people than others. So try to, again, to do something that it's kind of a little bit more easy for you. Okay, I don't say you should shortcut. I don't say you should lie or you should hide anything. But again, you know, if you want to be successful, it has to be try to find easy or to do and easy and fun. And for that, your strengths are very important to be known. So I don't know. Do you have any kind of strengths? Well, what you Asako, for example, or I don't know who just what do you like doing or not doing, or which kind of repertoire? Augusta, I don't know. I pick randomly, so I Adrien or Anna, Ariel. What do you like to do? What are your strengths? No strengths?
I can play lyrically pretty well, pretty. Yeah, and I think that's my strength. Maybe my weakness is sometimes some aspects of technique. And I think, yeah, music like maybe interpretation is my
Well, okay, that's something to important to know. Again, some people, some of you may not agree, but again, I'm very happy to hear I'm good at everything. Well, humbly, well, we have weaknesses and strengths. Okay, and again, when you I go out of the music field. Well, the first thing people will say, well, what are you good at? Because and when you get a new position, people say, what you know, well, best, what you like doing, because you will be much better at handling and doing something that it's easy for you, natural, rather say, well, I don't know too much. Well, anyway, you will do that, you know. And then first of all, you have a little bit more stressed, you know. You were more worried. You could just generate more mistakes and so on. So it's not. So try to build a career when you favor and you give a priority to your strengths. That's also something, you know. And you see that the two first points are only about you. We don't think about any kind of external points. It's about you. The first thing is your career, your success in your career. So we speak about what you have deeply in you, what you know better, you are good at doing, and so on. Okay. So we move on. Well, that's relating to your values, even though it's not exactly that, because you can think about having a value about having a full satisfaction and really willing to teach, first of all, because you see, well, I want to, teaching for me, it's really crucial. I want to give something to others, you know, to share my passion about music, and for that I want to teach. But and that could be a passion. But one sharing, exchanging is something relating to value. Now your passions is really what you love doing, and that's also something when I research came really strong before any kind of, or you have a nice website and so on. It's really what you really want to do. And you have, in fact, a successful career is about, you know, living your passions. You know, if I at the end I say, well, you know, my career was super successful because I could really have so many students, you know, and now they are really even better than me. They do beautiful career. They play all over the world. That's really something really rewarding then. And because also that's something you really wanted to do. So I go quickly on that because we cannot spend, you know, all the time there, but it's very important. Also, sometimes, you know, it's really when you say, and something I believe a lot about that. It's about use your favorite skill set, I would say also what is your training, you know, and maybe how you can really make sure that, you know, you get trained, you improve your skills, you know, you know exactly what are your skills and where you should be improving, you know, and that's something relating to really a strong, well, training, a strong background as a player, as a teacher, which is teaching sometimes comes with experience. However, you can also really, well, learn, you know, have some teacher mentoring and so on. And I really would like just to be, because sometimes with Philippe, I had a couple of his students coming to me and so on. Well, and Philippe say, well, speak to them, you know, and I really enjoy that. And the first thing is, well, do you have the adequate training? And well, yes, I have a master there and there in this conservatory. Yes, but do you have other skills? You know, if you want really just to, because being a musician is play extremely well, but not only. So sometimes, you know, having an opportunity really, and that's really what really ISSA want to do. Very well, with a couple of extra steps about, well, going out of your comfort zone, out of your little area of teaching and playing very wonderfully. It's really, do you know how we work on recording? Do you know about how we put work on social media? Do you know about really about production? You know, and these are things that you can be trained on. And I always recommend to the younger guys, but not only younger, just like when you don't know something, well, just learn, you know, and it could be some well, now digital session and so on, but learn how to do that, you know, because sometimes then some people play extremely well and they put then a website, or even they don't have any website, nothing, and say, well, you know, they know me. Well, yeah, your friends know you, a couple of people know you. But, you know, at the same time, you know, you should really come with a really a clear plan. And for that, you need to add more than only being a top player and an excellent teacher. You know? And that's really important. Get what's needed to succeed in your career in terms of training. You know, so sometimes in Europe, I don't think that, you know, it's really something, one of the strengths. I don't know in Asia too much. Well, but sometimes when you are at the conservatoire, or, you know, you can also take other classes, for example, you know. I don't know if you have experience about, you know, that in your backgrounds, having learned something else. Sometimes you even have some classes about really, really managing your career, or what are the tools. I like speaking about the toolbox, what all the parameters you need to check to make sure that you will give all chance for your career to take off. So any examples of something you learned which is not really directly relating to playing, performing?
Well, yes. For example, I have a rock band. Yeah, I have a rock band that I play in. And during my bachelor in Berlin, I really had to manage like the band, and like also to, how to say, to set up concerts, to talk with the person there, to make up all the flyers. Was really like a total job and plus of playing. So it was really like exhausting at the same time, because I mean, I'm not a manager, or I'm not like used to do this, but at the same time I learned a lot. So of course, yeah, I mean, I tend to go, inside
Adrien,
of the problem.
I would say you are not a manager, but you must also be a manager.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, you give a priority. You know, but I will say also, and Philippe knows that also for a long time, I had some people sometime, well, when I was at Selmer, and then, well, people say, well, but you know, well, what should I do? Well, but you know, and some people demonstrate and showing and seeing other people say, well, he plays so much, and say, well, but this person takes 1/3 of his time really calling people, really working on the website. And the musician told me, no name, told me, but you know, I'm a player. Well, yeah, but you're a player, but maybe in the past, even, you know, in the past it was maybe easier, something I don't believe in, you know. But this person, because, you know, of course we come to the point, well, this person is not as good as me. well, but this person maybe not as good as me, but this person just generate and has an activity to make sure that it generates or she generates more, activities. He has really worked with. So sometimes either you can do by yourself, of course it's less expensive, it's an investment, but you have to learn about that, or maybe you can have some people helping. But you really, and that's a really a key point, the skill sets, it's really about, of course, I know how to teach, I know how to perform, but not only, I need to add to my profile other stuff, like a real manager. Are you good in your field? Yes, I can really build a bridge. Or you're an engineer? Yes, but and what else? Well, I've experience in HR. I can work in teams because I know how to build a bridge, but I cannot do that without others. So I learn by experience, or because I had a particular training just to work in groups, just to make sure that I can really have the team, the whole working together and so on. And also I've been working on some communication skills also, and sometimes social and sometimes specific tools, because I had no choice but learning about that. Okay.
Yeah,
very important.
Yeah, maybe something, Jean-François, and thank you for all these precious advices, but I think about what said Adrien and Augustus. I know Adrien, and he's doing a lot of different things in different styles, and as far as I know, he managed most of them. And Augustus talked about be organized, and and you said you could ask someone also. Then I think that each of us could be more comfortable to do some specific things that we are good in. For example, you like the technology, and then you are good to use computers for video or sound, or just one of them, or streaming. But maybe you are not good for that. Then you could allow yourself to ask, and especially to trust other people.
Very important.
And this could be complex because, but that could be also useful, because when you want to, or when you need to work with other people, you need to be very clear and to explain what you expect. For example, I don't know if Matthias could appear. Matthias?
Where are you, Matthias?
Oh, no, Matthias. But it will come back. But I think about one thing. Matthias and I are both of the saxophonists who organized a World Sax Congress. You can't do that just without help.
Yeah.
But if you want to ask help, you have to be clear and to explain what kind of help you need.
Yeah.
And then for each of us, sometimes trust another person to help is very useful. For example, for ISSA, we are in the small board. Actually, we are 2 saxophonists, Nicolas Prost and I, and we have one great pianist, Maria, and a wonderful saxophonist and great manager, Winnie. And this combination is very good because we have different not opinions, but different point of view, and that's very useful.
You will still, yeah. Well, good, Philippe. Sorry.
No, and just to finish, but that is, in your set or in an artist set, you need a lot of things. And maybe coming back to what Maria said, but each 10 years you have like
reevaluate maybe.
Reevaluate, but sometimes each 6 months or each year you have to think about what could be your future and what you have to organize. For example, Adrien now is in his second year of master. Next year, he has another future. Maybe a PhD, or maybe no more studies and some other freelance career. That's a big question. And and then I'm sure he already think about that. But for that, you need different sets for each project. Adrien,
Yeah.
did you already know?
Well, it's complicated a bit in the moment because, let's say, yeah, it's a bit difficult to project yourself in the moment. So a freelance career, sure, would be nice, but I mean, it's quite difficult to imagine yourself in the moment. So yeah, sure, I'm thinking quite a lot, but well, I let the life also come to me a bit. Of course, I'm searching a lot, but
yeah. Well, yeah, the approach. You're right that I didn't say that, but you know, this time is very extremely particular. You know, unprecedented crisis, sanitary crisis, and you know, it raised a lot of questions for a lot. At the same time, you see, and that there is cultural gaps. I don't know in Asia too much. I didn't have a chance really, but you see, working a lot with the USA, for example, you see people projecting themselves big time, really. When in Europe, you know, we're more in the kind of really a shorter perspective right now to say, well, I don't say it's good or bad. It's kind of really different. I would say again, you know, you could say, well, you know, that's really what I really want without any kind of hurdles. Outside, you know, people in marketing use a SWOT is really when you consider also what your strengths or your weaknesses, and the same, well, what the environment you are in brings you as opportunity and also hurdles, you know, and that's something also to consider. But you know, what right for you, the point is really again to relate to the 4 points we already say. Well, what you really would like to do, what you are good at, what you really want to do, more teaching and so on. I saw so many people sometimes say, well, I do this diploma. I say, well, why? Well, and at the end, it was really because it was very comfortable. Another diploma. And the worst, you know, in the private sector, like we do in the business, the worst to have people, well, sir, you have so many diplomas. You're very skilled and very wise. But what about experience? You know, and you consider that this person, in fact, has kind of really sick after not really at the end relating to the market, to the real life. And don't try just to go out, you know, if you really want to do a PhD, because really there is a research you really want to do, it will, because you may want, I want to have really a teaching perspective and a teaching position, really, because PhD, it's research, is really something really more relating to research and teaching and education. So to discuss. But again, then that's really the theory and the pragmatism that comes because of the situation there. Okay, but first of all, kind of project you to really and to say, well, maybe I need to know more about this specific topic. The PhD will bring me something very interesting. Okay, we have to move on. I know Maria, who has a lovely way of putting that, and she said, well, the time is moving on, and I speak too much. I have a couple of points. What's going on there? Oops. Voila. Fifth point. That's something very important. When you make some choice for your career, there is also very, and I'm very clear about that, you know, how much you need to earn.
A lot.
A lot, yeah, of course. But, you know, sometimes you say, well, okay, well, I would love you to do that, but can you afford to have to do this PhD? Or can you afford to, you know, or you want to have that? And people say, well, but you don't want to go after my dreams. They say, well, yes, but at the same time, you have to be able, you know, sometimes you say, well, I want a big house, and well, unfortunately, you cannot do that. But you built, and that's something very important. You will see that the next step is about building a plan, you know, and it's very important to say, well, you know, if I take this option, you know, I would love to do that, but that's really what brings. And saxophone is something very interesting because I play the clarinet. A lot of people have an opportunity, even though they are not. Let's take for violin, you know, that's even a better choice. People violin, you know, they can always, they graduate, they can always try to join an orchestra. and they are well violin. They have about normally 25 to 30 violinists, you know, in the tutti, of course. So it's give a little bit more perspective that the saxophonist, for example, sometimes people say, well, you know, I don't want to teach too much because I'm not liking that too much and so on. Well, but well, can you afford not to teach? Because teaching can bring you some really fair amount of earning. Now you can also balance your life, but the question of the economical question, it's extremely crucial. And when you speak about career, you should not neglect that. We have all, and you see, well, it starts with values, great, big time, big picture. And then number 5, it's, well, money. Well, you need, again, to check about that, you know, to make sure that at the end, you know, the point is a successful career is to be able just to be able to be comfortable enough to sometimes say, well, I want to do this project, I want to do this recording, and I can afford to do that because I balance my career to make sure that I secured some enough incomes to be able to invest in other fields. Something very important to consider, and sometimes, maybe I'm wrong, but I saw a lot of people saying, well, money, it's not the most important. Well, yes, I understand, but it is very important. So, and again, these 10 points, you will see I go fast, but it's not, they're not too ranked. Something important, you know, they have to be considered. You know, I don't say that number 5, it's less important than your values, you know, both important, you know, but this question of economical, the economical financial aspect, you know, are extremely important when you want to succeed in your career. Okay. Point number 6. Yes, have a plan. Basic also, but sometimes people say, well, I go with the flow. Great, thank you. Well, it's okay. So, well, next year I will see. Maybe I will get I will finally get a teaching plan. No. Well, do you want to teach? Yes, yes, I'm not sure. Well, okay, you want to teach. Where? How much of your time you want just to spend at teaching? You know? And after that, of course, the plan is one point aspect, and then again, realism comes. But first of all, you say, well, what do I want? I want to have a balanced life. When Matthias mentioned about I will have a family, then I want to teach because I need to teach to get enough earnings, or at least to secure. Okay, and then I need also, I would like just to teach in rather small, and at least make a plan. When you seek after a job, for example, say, well, my goal would be, well, to do that, and that. Sometimes it's not going to happen, but at least the plan is very crucial. Okay. Yeah. Which kind of activities, the kind of team you want to have for your plan, you know, the goals you have. Yeah. And again, very generic, but it relates to some technical plan. And again, don't be shy. And Philippe, then you can go. Don't be shy to have a blank paper and say, well, my plan next year for Adrien, and say, well, I really would like to have really just to to teach. Well, if I go freelance, well, I need just to have enough. Really, I need just to be able to perform with my group. I don't know, at least 4 times a month. So it means like I need to secure 40, well, 50 concerts a year. Realistic? How I put that together? You know, well, it's difficult time. Maybe I should really just say, well, I do only 20. And then what's missing to do that? Well, maybe I could have a manager. I cannot afford that, so I need to learn how to make production for my group. At the same time, I will seek for a teaching position, which is not so far from where I am based. Then, you know, I can just save some time and money just to do something else, or I move to another area and so on. Philippe?
Yeah, just 2 quick things. About have a plan that remind me one very famous advice from Jerry Bergonzi, a great jazzman and great teacher. When students ask him, how could you advise me to have a working plan? He said, plan your work and work your plan. And this is a very short advice, but if you think about that, that's quite hard to do, but very useful. And the second thing you talk about, sometimes think about doing something different. It depends on the country. Sometimes some countries like US students are used to have another job to pay some bills, and after they come back, not come back, but at the same time they are in university. In some other countries like France, we have some support of the government. We are less used to that. But I remember one period of my life, because you talk a lot about teaching, and I remember when the Strasbourg Conservatory offered to me to apply for the position. I was not sure if I want to teach or not. And then I decided to go to have like not a summer course, but I have two weeks. I asked my friend, one of my friends who was a cook with a restaurant. I asked them, please take me, allow me to work for you for free for 2 weeks, but like if I really work in your restaurant, because I love to cook. And at this time I was not sure if I want to be a cook or a saxophone teacher. Then I cooked as a worker in a kitchen in a restaurant for 2 weeks. And after that I thought, oh, I still love to cook, but only for my friends. Music is a lot more comfortable. I feel more comfortable to spend all my days practicing and working on my music plan. And this experience helped me to be really decided about what will be my next plan.
Yeah. Very fair point, Philippe.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we move on. I'm sorry. I try just to to be, but again, very generic that, but it should raise some pointer. And I told you from the beginning, or stay flexible. Again, have the plan. You say, well, that's really my goal, and then the way you reach your goals is another. So we always have to be very flexible. Well, based on, well, again, something very deep, the value, your passions, what you like doing that, but also sometimes you take opportunities there. You know, how often sometimes people who are not musicians, but just get a position because they have been, for example, volunteering. I know in the US it's extremely strong, in Europe too also, and people say, well, but volunteering, I don't earn any money, but yeah, but you make some connections. You really, so sometimes, of course, the first plan is say, well, I want a teaching position, I want to play 40 concerts a year. Good for you. That's really what you have on your blank piece of paper. Now, how you reach that? Well, you have to remain extremely flexible. Maybe I need to have an extra degree, or at least to get a training on this particular point. Maybe some people get, well, I saw in the music industry that some people, and it's difficult sometimes, but get another job, and then they instead of teaching, well, they don't want to teach, but they have a job, and on the side, could be a part-time job, they do perform and work for their own projects. In the music industry, I won't say that I have in mind some, well, yeah, a good example. For example, I would say here we can hear Christophe Grez. He's involved with Selmer, and he's on the side is really one of the key. Well, he's one of the members of the Morphing, for example. Well, that's a good example. Well, and when I asked him, well, you could. I think he's not so willing, and I don't want to speak from him, for him, but he's not willing to teach too much. He gives some class, of course, but I think he didn't want just to spend 16 or 20 hours per week. He's not so excited about that. So he got a job, another thing in the music business, to really be able to then on the side, which is not easy. I won't say it's easy because it's a full-time, and sometimes you have to compromise about the practice time and so on, but he finds the way. So it's always really, I won't say every options are open, but almost there. You find really your way. And I think, again, in the US, you could really have some good example of people who are combining different careers. Kind of very impressive. I have maybe some a word. Someone left a message for me, or it's maybe, well, okay. Do you have any questions so far?
I have a question, but it's not really related to the subject that we're talking about right now. So.
Okay, I move quickly. Maria is really, she's upset. No, she's not upset, but I go a little bit too slow. So I finished my 10 points. Networking. Philip really relate and told you about, well, if you cannot do by yourself, maybe some people can really help you. So a team, but also connections. I have to say I was sometimes very upset just to see some people kind of really not attending the big shows. For example, conferences or World Saxophone Congress sometimes say, well, you are not showing up. No, I'm not interested and so on. Well, okay, fine with me. And then seeing people say, well, I missed something. Yes, try to build your network. Some people who are were other players, friends, and so on, but not only, and really, when you see how it goes more and more now, people have opportunities also because they are networking a lot, and especially the tools, all the social media are done for that. Facebook initially was really this kind of interaction between students in universities and so on. So really creating your own little bubble and network is very important. And I would say not only in the music field, but even though you are a musician, sometimes you may have some people also sometimes, dealing more and more. And that's something I love speaking about, and I will not go further there, about, well, professional and amateur people. How often we some professionals say, well, I speak only to the future, the top students and so on. So often some amateur players say, well, I would like to take a class, and these are people who have money to spend. They have another job. They are doctors, they are lawyers, they are just really, and they buy some instrument, they want to learn more. And sometimes it's very hard for them just really also to really get so flexibility is one point. Networking also is very important, just to make sure that, you get all opportunities there. Okay. Sorry, sometimes my
just Jean-François, maybe about network. I come back to Matthias because as I said before, Matthias and I organize a World Sax Congress, and maybe Matthias could say a few words about that, about how it's necessary to have a network to organize the World Sax Congress, but also the good feedback about that is after that you have a network. So you give to your community something, and after this community give you back one other thing. Matthias, maybe? Hello, Matthias?
I don't know.
I'm unmuting myself.
Ah.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. It also depends on the type of personality you are. So sometimes you give more than you get back, because it's in your personality, and you're not asking for for being paid back. Because what was my goal always, because I'm sort of a pioneer of classical saxophone in this part of Europe, and my main goal was always to bring as much as possible of knowledge to our country. So now, after all those years, I can have more extra free time, because the youngsters, they learned how to do the things, and I'm not responsible anymore for the networking is already made, and so I can join the wonderful society of ISSA, and spend time with friends, and it's really how you see your position in the environment.
But Matthias, you didn't do that, and that's important because you wanted to get some feedback and some very positive outcomes. You did that first of all for a major goal about really sharing, and bringing the best of the saxophone in your country. To really, and then later on, and Philippe is right, later on you created a real network. Some people really like what you did and wanted to invite you, and that's how you also just did benefit for that. Okay, but the first point was really, yeah, and we hope about that. But there is no, and I speak by experience about that. Sometimes you do something because that's your job, and because also deeply you want to help and so on. And later on, some other people, and I'm not shy, say, hey, I help you. Now can you do something for me? And most of the time, that's really 95% of the time, even 99%, of course you help me. And I didn't do that for that. I didn't know, but at one point, and it's really this network help you to really sometime, basically, why not finding a concert, say, hey, you would like, but also get some more skills and so on, okay? And by the way, the point 9 is important, get support. Get support means what? Get support from other people. And we about a team, we work also. Get support also sometimes about financial support if needed and so on, okay? Get also a support at helping you, at driving you in some of your projects, That's very important. Don't be shy also to sometimes seek after some external helps, for people and so on, because they always will lead you to most of the time, very positive outcomes. Okay. And I go fast.
Sorry. I would just like to conclude everything. Till the World Saxophone Congress, it was 2006 in Ljubljana. A saxophone was not the instrument in my country that was really very, very well known, or it was not considered like the real instrument. It was something for weirdos, and from that time on.
Hello.
Saxophone is in the community in my country. So that's all I wanted to say.
Okay.
Okay. And that's great because you bring something to the community. Thank you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Good.
Okay. The last thing is interesting. I put that. I think be good to yourself, and sometimes don't infringe yourself. With something. Again, it relates to the beginning: values, passion, and so on. Everything is about, and I think about what you said at the beginning: being organized, playing, but not only. Allowing some breaks for you, meaningful, no regret, colorful. Creating some and. Everything is about a career, a good career, a successful career is about really making sure that you enjoy as much as possible. Easy to say, hard to do, true. And, Matthias described ups and downs in a life, in a career, true. But at least, try to go easy sometimes, play with your strengths, get the right skills, have the plan, be flexible, listen, work with a team, get support if needed, and so on, and be good to yourself. At the end, just do something that you really, really enjoy a lot. Okay. A lot of theory, but practice now. So practice, but it's still a little bit theory. Career for me, it's about satisfaction, development, and meaning. And that's really what we discussed about that. However, and that's here my marketing background here. You see, and people could be, wow, this guy, it's really a pure techno managing manager and so on. Well, I see the musician, any person like that. Yes, and thank you, Philippe. It was easier for me. It didn't come from me. You are, yes, a product. I'm sorry, we are all a product. You could completely refuse this kind of approach. Product, it's not a bad word. You bring something, and product could be the beautiful, nicest thing, service you can bring. I work in a foundation just to at the beginning. That was really a research I made for at my business school about non-lucrative. I help homeless people, I was really treating this approach like a real product. My product was to raise funds, to have a message, to raise enough money to help really homeless people. And that's why I really wrote this, this work. It was 150 pages really about that, all techniques, because I say, well, it's not a product like, well, this is a cup, how much? It's $5, okay, I sell that. No, you are either a service, you're either a cause, something really, really something it's much stronger than kind of this pencil or whatever. You are also someone on the market giving some joy to people and setting a group that can really just give, give an amazing performance, an amazing experience to others who will be in the audience. And that's very important that when you speak about the career, with all the 10 points we were really about thinking about this, in marketing, we speak about the 4 Ps: product, place, promotion, and price, okay? And that's very important. And I go very fast on that, and then I will take some, and this is the logo there. It's the toolbox, you're a product. So, and for me, what is very important in your offer as a product, and again, I don't want just to say you are basic product, but you come with an offer, something, that's really, and your background, what you know, what you bring in society is really playing wonderfully some beautiful music, teaching, really inspiring some people as future players or players, okay? Everything here, I put quality because also, of course, we say a successful product, so a successful succeeding in really your career, it's about quality. Of course, you should never compromise in the quality of your product, what you offer. So never compromise on the quality of your playing, on your teaching. It relates to music training, your music background, the performing experience you have, the teaching experience. Also, what you can bring in terms of artistic management there. Sometimes I saw some people, trying to teach abroad and not being able to really speak a good English, at least, which is really, and of course, just make sure that everything comes also with a team there. And I'm sorry to do that because we could dig in, we could go deeper, but when you consider about what to bring to the market, and that's really what you have to offer, it's really, there are more than that. I put a couple of bullet points there, but it's all about that. One thing though, it's really never compromise. That's why your background and what you teach at the conservatoire and so on, it's extremely crucial. You need to be able to propose something as good as possible. However, we know that, not everybody is a top soloist in a super philharmonic orchestra. Not everybody has a superb career, and at the end, well, you have some people better than others, but do your best. It doesn't mean that you will not do a great career and you will not be very happy in your career, but never compromise in the quality and make sure that what you offer, the product you are, with all the parentheses, comes with all this parameter there. It's very important. Okay. I hope that you follow me on that. And the same for the price. So a little bit less bullet points, but here you have a credibility. I always told, and Philippe know that, well, okay, you want to play, how much you want? Well, don't worry, it's not a big deal, No, but I'm paid for what I'm doing. So what do you offer? What is your offer there? How much it costs your group? How much you charge for a masterclass and so on? You have to be extremely clear about the incomes you have, the transparency. You have to be good at negotiating when and sometimes you have even to be good at volunteering for nothing, no price, but something because it's interesting. Okay. I see some message. I go very fast because we're out of time. Is it good just to go a few extra minutes to allow some question? It's okay?
Sure, yes.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, Maria. I knew that I was not good at timing, but we started a bit late though. The place, where to do that. And that's something very important. I remember someone, a dear friend also, a young guy, well, being everywhere. I am in Russia. I am in France. I am in Netherlands. I am in Poland. Well, at one point it's good. You know, you teach. You are in Berlin one day, then you're in Strasbourg. The world is small. However, I speak, and I like speaking about local, global, or global, local. It depends. I think about local, global. From what I know, you know, Philippe guys, and Philippe will be able to relate, or Matthias, or Asako, really, for example, they have a home there. They are in Strasbourg, in Ljubljana, in Osaka. That's where they teach. They play mostly and so on, but not only. So sometimes, you know, of course, we take all opportunities, but I believe that at one point you have just to be linked to somewhere. And then, where are you based? What is your zone of influence? Now, where is your network? And then, of course, you expand, you work with some shows and events, some opportunities, some organization who do. ISSA, it's a good example of where everywhere it's global. But I believe that if you want to manage a career, and something we can discuss, you know, you need at one point to be somewhere. But to establish, you say, and that's really important, you have to have a place. When we speak about, you know, launching a new product and having a new offer, we say, well, we will launch this product globally, sure, but each market has to be addressed separately. Okay, and sometimes the problem is you say, well, oh yeah, I'm in social media, blah, blah, and so on, but where do you want to teach? Where you will start just performing? Set back a little bit and establish yourself somewhere, because you need that also for your life and also to people to understand. Being global is great, but at one point you are everywhere but nowhere. Okay, so something to do. I would like to get your feedback about that. And of course, and when I started with Philippe, we discussed about that, and of course we said, wow, care is about all the tools. But you see that this kind of promotion, all these tools come at the end, you know, because of course you need to brand yourself. You know, I'm sure that Adrien has a beautiful website or a Facebook page, or is he active on Insta or any kind of really for this group, because we want to brand something. I'm sure that when you want to get a new job, you have a nice CV, you have nice pictures, high resolution. How often I was struggling at getting a nice picture there, doing some videos, having some content in your social media, also knowing exactly why you do that and to whom you want to speak to, different channels, and also sometimes the investment. People say, well, oh, this guy, well, but he invests in a very professional website. It's not easy. You don't come, but maybe you will go step by step. And that's why I put also professionalism there. You know, all the promo tools, all the tools you will put to really advertise yourself, let people know about what you do, you know, should be very professional. Better to have less, but at least very highly professional, because it shows who you are. You know, and sometimes you say, well, you know, honestly, the picture you give there, it's not the greatest one, and so on. If you really want to play and really be successful, bring some, and it's basic now, but sometimes we kind of forget a little bit that. Okay, so you see, and I will go to that's really all what I have to do. So about this 10 points that I think maybe you will be able to share, and Maria will be able to send you. I'm happy to share this PowerPoint. It's not a big deal. That's the first thing. Think about these 10 goals and key points to succeed in your career, and then sorry again that speak and consider you and your career and you who you are as a kind of product. I'm sorry to say that. And for me, it's absolutely not a bad word at all. And Philippe said the same thing. You know, it could be well done. It's really, and then consider you as really having the right product, everything really well done in terms of really, the activities you can show. Also, the pricing is important. I didn't go too deep on that, but it's very important. The economical point is very important. Then the place there where you want to do that, you know, great to see, well, I want to have a career international and play everywhere. But you see most of the time that people who are successful and go because they concentrate on some specific countries some specific area. And finally, of course, be extremely professional in all your promo tools. What you put together should really, really match with who you are and what you want to do. Do you have any question? Do you have any kind of really, well, yes, interaction and critiques, inputs? Please, that's your time. I shut up. Tell me.
Well, maybe I could start with my question about, working hard is also, I mean, not also, always is a really nice thing. I mean, you really need to work hard to be good and all that. But when do you think is like the moment then that you know that it's too much? You know, when do you know to stop? How do you know?
To work? Okay, but working, if I may just be a little bit more specific, working, you mean working as practicing?
Well, you know, practicing and all things that require really big effort, you know.
Well, I would say, and again, here we can open, really share. Sometimes it's a question of balance. You know, there is a time when you have an exam coming. It's extremely important that you pass this exam and you succeed, because you need this diploma to go further and so on. So you need to really just concentrate most of the time at practicing. It's very important. But at the same time, so often, again, I have this example, long time ago, this guy coming to me and say, well, honestly, say, I'm the best saxophonist. And he was excellent, by the way. And Philippe is smiling. I see you, Philippe, now. I say, and the guy say, but I don't play so much. I say, but you can be the best in your kitchen or in your bathroom. Yes, you know, but nobody knows that. So you need to find a way. And he was taking an example of someone who's, yes, technically, I'm sorry to say that, but maybe not as good player. But this guy is spending a lot of time calling and, hey, Mr. Machin, oh yeah, I know that you have a festival. I would love really, oh yeah, but you are, and negotiating. You would like to have a little bit more. I can play with an instrument and so on. Really doing the job there. And the other person was better, yes, player, but as you know, was considering, I'm waiting for the calls. I'm waiting because they all know that I'm the best or I'm one of the best. Yeah, but well, you know, consider that. And something very important, sometimes in saxophone, but clarinet is the same. We all are among us. I told Claude Delangue, which is a dear friend, I say, well, the worst in our industry. So we all speak to the same people. Of course, we know each other, it's normal. But think that a lot of people will buy a ticket to listen to your recital. Well, they maybe don't know what the difference between, I'm sorry to say that, a soprano and bari sax. People say, no, it's true. You know, some people will say, well, a saxophonist, well, I love the saxophone, the guy playing with a rock band and so on. Well, I will listen to, you could be surprised sometimes. So think easy, think also about, you know, just a basic approach, okay? And consider that, you know, when you need to give some work, hard work to practice because you have a goal, okay? Otherwise, try to start. I'm sure Adrian, he said, well, it was a lot of work, but he has, in the morning you have to practice, and in the afternoon, well, you need maybe to teach a little bit, and then you have to say every day I spend 1 hour or 90 minutes maybe just for my own career, to make sure that I check some stuff. I work on my website. I'm sure that I reach out to a couple of people there and so on. Do I reply to your, so it's not very precise. It's always a question of really, the only thing I can tell you, it's really important that don't do only one thing. The worst could be, you know, if you practice like crazy, great, you need, but you know, you are missing something. Of course, whenever you are at the conservatory, people say, well, I only practice and then I will see later. Yeah, try just to start already marketing you a little bit. You have a quartet, try to do a couple of things. And I think that the younger generation does very well on that. They have no choice. You know? And sometimes the time you have at the conservatoire with all your teacher, get advice, get connection, and make your own experience about, well, I have this quartet. Maybe it will not be forever, but I try just to do something and to have a mini website and to try to reach a couple of people, because I need just to, we want to play anyway. Do you agree with that?
I just have one question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a marketing question, because you just said like the younger generation is more like able, it's more natural to like do that, to promote yourself. I mean, because we're more like grew up with social medias, etc. So we kind of know how to use it, but at the same time, how, I don't know, like maybe like how do you stick out? Like that's also my main question, because everybody is kind of on social media. Everybody is like there. So how do you sell your product basically, and how do you stick out? That's
well,
like
I will tell you, I know someone, again, I take some examples, someone who is really not so much in social media, and he plays every summer. He had a big tour of really 15, 20 concerts. Of course, well, let's say sometimes he plays in really remote area, in the little church and so on, but he plays, you know, and he gets some money. And again, I had some example of people say, well, we don't do a lot of concerts. Again, question of value, goals. Say, well, we play only once per quarter, but it's a big concert hall. Fine with me, you know, all to you. But I think now the point is, social media are only one tool. And how often, and Philippe and Matthias and all the people there can see how sometimes you get concert, people, did you check your Facebook, my Facebook? You know, I'm not on Facebook. And consider that a lot of people who are decision makers. I don't speak about big theaters, big concert halls, who really, but a lot of decision makers in the city, they have no time, and they will not chase after your website. Say, oh, I'm looking for a sax quartet. Maybe. Most of the time, it's because they got a friend, or they got a call, they got even some paper, and say, well, or a little video and so on. So we have to be careful, because now we went to a point when social media, it's everything, and it's too much also. You know, so I am a big believer on that. You know, how often, even in corporate entity, like, you know, we come back sometimes to, of course, you have video, we have social media and so on, but we also come back to the direct relation. Sometimes even people say, well, you're an old man already, maybe, but how often you get, oh, I like to have a little flyer, and people say, wow, no paper anymore. You know, it's not, well, but there are always a lot of decision makers who still have that. And if you don't have that, you will say, well, don't worry, it's not true. Well, it's true. So maybe when you prepare your career, well, I don't say that you need to I remember sometime I was getting like 25 pages, blah, blah, of everything. It's too much. But it's really well done, you know, little flyer, exciting something, and say, hey, by the way, if you want to have a little bit more information, you will find on my Facebook, you know, all our most recent activities. Go on my YouTube, you will see a couple of videos. And again, sometimes I go to YouTube, you have 25, 50 to 75. No, go on the YouTube and select a couple of things. And then you say, well, if you want us to play with a quartet, mean to play with my, folk music group, I play a little bit jazz and so on. Ah, wow, okay. Because sometimes too much, it's killing the offer.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, you know, it's really basic, but sometimes it's a toolbox. I like this idea of, yes, I have my Facebook. Yes, I have my website. By the way, websites, and Philippe, we discuss a lot about that. Sometimes website, it's like to find the right information. It's like it takes 15 minutes. Forget it. What you want is, well, who you are, what you do, nice picture appealing, contact information, couple of video, and that's all. You know, then if you put too much, then of course, if you have, Philippe has composition, because he has great pieces, well, you have teaching experience, you have all the concerts with different groups and so on, that's fine. But, you know, don't give too much. And that's really the beauty. Or sometimes say, well, check about that. Oh, you're interested? I give you a call. People love that. How often you say, hey, by the way, you like the view? Oh, yeah. I'm not sure it will. And you speak with a guy, you explain, especially if you are in the group. People say, oh, well, yeah, you speak so much about that. I would love to have you there. And then, of course, you say, well, but you cost 5,000, 2,000. It's too much for me. Well, maybe we can find something, maybe I can go for 1,500, but you cover one, this expense, you cover the travel, for example. Oh yeah, it's better for me. See, negotiation, and negotiation by email is good, but when you speak to the people, it's
yeah.
Do I reply to that?
So just two things about what you already said with Adrien, and I would like to come back to Augustus quickly. Mm-hmm. Maybe in the toolbox, if you allow me, Jean-François, I would just suggest to try to have some tools like describe or present yourself in one word, 3 words, a very, very short bio, or a long one like your profile, and have these different tools. Because, for example, if one day you are on the national or international news, you will not have the opportunity to talk about all your bio in details. They will give you 5 seconds, and and that would be a good thing, but that's difficult to describe yourself in 5 seconds.
And how you are different. When I'm involved in sales, you have a big competition, whatever you sell a product or yourself, you have a group, but there are 25 group I could research with the same kind of what is different. Sometimes it's different. And of course, not lying at all, but you have to come with something a little bit. And that's where you sell yourself. And maybe you are not as well, this point is really not as important, but you say, well, that's something we do extremely well. You like that? And at least people will say, well, but that's not what I'm interested in. Well, it's fine. You understand what they want and you try to adjust. Sometimes you say, I'm sorry, I don't have what we do. It's not what you're looking for. I have been playing in the clarinet quintet. We do classical. We play a lot in the village and so on. That's really what we like doing. And people say, well, we want to only have creations and new pieces. Well, I give you the contact of someone because that's what they do. And that's not us. And sometimes it's good also, like, shops, they say, well, good morning. I want, I don't know, a keyboard and say, well, we're only winds instruments. Well, but go to my colleagues, he will sell you and he will advise you. Sometimes just say exactly who you are, don't lie, stick with your value. But at the same time, when you see that there is something that could be relevant, say, well, try to insist on that and say, oh yeah, of course. Oh, well, we do this kind of music and we could, and sometimes you could say, you know what, you want to have this repertoire? For you, especially, we can maybe add a couple of pieces for you to go a little bit more. You need to service these people. Of course, some people say, well, that's my program, I stick with that. But when you see top pianists, for example, or even conductors, Seiji Ozawa, you know what he do? He do 2 opera per year. Well, he has a manager. He say, today it's Traviata. Well, this for 6 months, and he knows Traviata, it's beautiful and so on. And he say, well, what I sell, it's Seiji Ozawa and Traviata. It's not like, can you just do the new opera by Kurt Weill and so on? I'm sorry, it's not. See, sometimes you have your offer, and sometimes you adjust. But it was interesting because I saw Seiji Ozawa and 1 week later he was in Japan and so on, because what he has to sell is Seiji Ozawa plus Traviata or whatever it was. It was another opera.
I have also a question. Which tips could you give us young saxophonists for marketing for the coronavirus pandemic? Because now a lot of countries have lockdowns, we have no live concerts, and we only have opportunity to play online something. But
well, Lucia, if you can afford to take this time to really work on your toolbox again. Take the time to really see. You're in Vienna. When I live in Paris, I see a lot of hotels closed. and they could, well, and unfortunately it will be hard for them. But you see a lot of hotels closed, but they are just doing everything, rebuilding everything.
Yeah, and maybe
take advantage of that. Maybe say, well, okay, I don't have concert, I still have to practice and so on. That's no problem. But I will work on finally my website. Get ready for the next step.
Yeah, and maybe Lucia, you maybe the time to think more local than global. I mean that we are used since years and years to think that we are good and famous because we travel a lot. That could be true, but sometimes we forgot our base, as Jean-François said. And for example, during the pandemic, I found that's completely great that we could really notice that people need music. And because you are locked down, you need to watch your TV with music. You need to listen to some music to calm down and so on and so on. And also, for example, you could bring music to your neighbors, do short concert, or you could bring music to like old people who are so boring and so lonely. You could send some small video or things like that. We done some things like that with Maria, for example. We recorded with our students and also with our duets some short video, and we sent the video to some retirement hospital for very old people. And the hospital bought tablets for the for that, and we have a very warm feedback about that. Then you could, of course, sometimes you just be volunteer, like Jean-François said, but also in the same times you could ask yourself why you are a musician and why you could bring to the society. Then yes, we are locked down, not everywhere. Asako, for example, said that in Japan they are organized differently and they could do the concert. The concert will come back, but for sure we don't know when the coronavirus will be done. And now the world change.
And maybe, Philippe, we have to live with that. You know,
maybe
again, we will not. There are so many specialists to say, well, maybe we have to consider that maybe we will have for longer than expected. So we will adjust then. Okay. I personally, because there is always this discussion about all digital. Well, first of all, you see a lot of people, well, these tools are extremely important. And if you have any kind of very exciting offer to do, a nice live concert and so on, because people who need to remember you, they will remember you, but sometimes either there are some people who every single week they do something, and at one point you lose track because you say, well, I have a friend who every Sunday he does something. I did 3-4 times, and then I say, well, I lost kind of really passion about that. But sometimes, so it could be also the interest to work on a special piece and say, well, I offer that I would like just to, it's a good goal to have. But don't feel obliged really just to be there, because if you have nothing exciting, sometimes I saw some people playing and say, okay, thank you. And it's not so good for you, it's because, hey, I'm here and I have this piece there, so I play that for you. Okay, better just to not to appear and to continue and work in the background, in kind of really on your different tools, on your networks, maybe on different well, again, tools and maybe new projects you have. Maybe also to test. You could say, well, I test a new, I learned a little bit more how, with Philippe, for example, it's extremely interesting to work how we improve the teaching online and maybe even performing online, testing live streaming, everything does that, maybe a little bit different. So it's also a good time to improve your tools and also maybe to test a couple of things and maybe to project yourself for the future. You know, don't feel that you need to be in this big mass of project, because sometimes it's not the good time. Some people have been even holding back the launch of new projects because they say it's not a good time. I would say if you have something new to propose, do that, okay? But just that's the time to really reflect and build, well, your well, what you want to be for later on.
Jean-François?
Yes.
Maybe for the end, it was very, very useful. And what would be your advice about getting advice when you're a young musician today and you would like to talk to somebody to get some advice, and not only your parents or your friends or your teacher, but somebody who can have this very global view?
Well, I would say, first of all, go to the people in the music field and saxophonists who have really well experience. Here it's a good example, you know, of for example, see, Asako didn't speak too much about that. Asako, it's very interesting for me also. You know, we were discussing before that, Asako, and in Asia you used to doing that. It's something we don't have in Europe. Every single year, twice maybe a year, I don't know, Asako, she put a project for her, the concert, and only in Asia. I don't see a lot of people doing that in Europe. It's not our tradition. I saw that also in Korea. I don't know, in Hong Kong. People, you see, well, poster, and every 6 months or once a year, they have a big concert. Well, I think as I learn how to do that, you know, at the Paris Conservatoire or even in Osaka and so on, but you have no choice there. And that's really something. So if you have some people like from abroad have this kind of experience, how you do that? So that's people, I would say insiders. Your Matthias with and Philippe with experience at World Saxophone Congress, people you love because they have a great career, or you love how the project they do, go to them, reach them, Facebook, blah, blah, and so on. Say, hey, you know what? I don't want a class. I don't want you to listen to me on Jacques Ibert or any kind of Glasunoff, whatever. I would like you to give me some advice about, well, who I am and what do you think. People would be. The second thing, very important, speak to outsiders. Sometimes we relate too much about, well, saxophone with saxophone, clarinet with saxophone, clarinet. Speak to people who are completely abroad, outside. A manager, someone is in the human resources, someone who really, or even, you know what, for example, someone who is managing a concert hall. How they select the people and so on, what they are looking for, and so on. Also try to find new people. Philippe was thinking about some new, at the Carnegie Hall or at the, well, I don't know, à la Philharmonie in Paris, for example. But, you know, what about new places there? Maybe playing in front of retired people is not so exciting, but it's another audience. I also deeply think about amateur players. That's a big pyramid. The top players we speak to, it's 5%. Most of the people who buy a ticket to listen to you are people who are, well, they come to the concert just to enjoy. So sometimes really trying just to, we all want to play with in front of all the people at the World Saxophone Congress. That's different. But play for other people.
And maybe if you permesso, Jean-François.
Sorry.
I would just advise you to take a look to Taiwan saxophone ensemble that Maria and I know very well because we tour with them. They are called MIT, Made in Taiwan, and they are young saxophonists who built a kind of that's an ensemble, but that's also a group, and they organize themselves step by step as a school, as a business, with really a business plan. Mm-hmm. And as Jean-François said, for example, they teach to beginners, amateurs. They build amateur saxophone ensembles. They also have high-level students. And when they go on tour, their students are one big part of the audience.
Mm-hmm. And friends of their students.
Yeah,
and
and they have also a music shop, and now they have a restaurant, but step by step.
Yeah.
And that's very interesting.
Yeah, I remember something when I was working for Salmer about with Sylvain Malesieux. I can name that. He came with another project, but kind of relating to that. I say, well, you know, how often I have some people who are amateur player, they love saxophone, but they have no chance to try. You go to any music shop, especially now Corona, but we don't speak that. Well, you want to try? Well, I don't know, try, ask a friend. Where can I really have the experience of just testing, having put my fingers and with Sylvain, we came with a project of sax baptism, baptême de sax. You know, it was kind of in translation, so kind of, I had 2-3 saxophone, and well, we were cleaning everything, blah, blah, and so on. And definitely the guy said, you never tried, give a try. Like, you know, you never tried, I don't know, any kind of trying this sport. You know, they do that a lot. Well, put that and put your kimono on, we borrow you something and give a try. People say, oh, I love that, it's fun and so on. And then the guy said, I want to start, I will, and then I want just you to give me some class, and I want to learn, and that's how it's. So again, we sometimes we're too much into our little world. Of course, you need recognition from your peers. Very important also for us, for ego. More important, the people who are very successful are people who got recognition from their peers, but also from the rest of the population there. And sometimes you get recognition because people say, well, okay, he's a good guy, but wow, he's super successful with all the concerts.
I tried the saxophone, and I have to say that since I tried, you are all my heroes. It is really very difficult.
Well, piano is kind of, it's another, no, but it's very important. You know, sometimes we don't think simple because we are all, you know, in the kind of environment, it's very important, but going out of the box, very important.
Yeah.
So I know that
we have to finish slowly. So please, Jean-François, maybe somebody still has a question.
The last question.
Yes.
They're scared now. So, well, if we ask, we get for 7 or 10 minutes more.
I'm sorry, I have to go. So thank you very much. It was really interesting. Thank you very much for everything.
Well,
and
I wrap up, Adrien, simply. Thank you for the opportunity, ISSA. Continue. I hope the summer session will come soon. Thank you for all you younger players, more advanced player who was more friends of mine. It was great. I hope that it was useful, not too theoretical, but sometimes good to have a step back and think, you know, building a successful is great, but building your meaningful career, it's even better. So enjoy. I'm on Facebook. Maybe Maria will be able to share this kind of couple of slides if she wants. I will be able to do that if you want.
And
nothing really big.
You will get the replay.
Yeah.
And there is a replay.
Yes, there is a replay and everybody will get it.
And I wish that I will attend one of your concerts very shortly, somewhere in the world. People from Asia, good luck. People from Europe and Lisa, thank you, Philippe and Maria. I love the saxophone. Viva la musica. Thank you.
Jean-François.
Thank you, Jean-François.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.